maybe it's just better for us to think about a simpler time. Maybe flashback, you would
Yeah,
say.
the 1960s for you?
No. I was thinking more like 2019.
2019, got you. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't know it was
2019.
the good old days for you.
Hey,
I know how much you talk about how much you reminisce about the good old days.
the good old days.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Who says that?
Don't you?
It's
Like
not
you
me,
just
no.
you say you miss it like whenever like we just had separate bathrooms and like we could all just do our own thing without being with each
I was
other.
born in 2000, dude.
The fact that like this is an election year so fast, bro. I like it itches me. It makes me sick because it like hasn't set in with me yet that like all the fake activists are about to pop out.
Yeah, it's getting to that time of year.
Yeah, and I'm not looking forward to like every time I go to the gym because my gym is right next to like the library where they do all the voting and stuff. So like to get to the gym, you have to go through the mob of like 50 and 60-year-olds with picket signs being like, "Oh, for now," and it's like, lady, can you just like move the hell out the way? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm so sick of this already. I thought we were over this.
Yeah, maybe it's just better for us to think about a simpler time. Maybe flashback, you would
Yeah,
say.
the 1960s for you?
No. I was thinking more like 2019.
2019, got you. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't know it was the
2019.
good old days for you.
Hey,
I know how much you talk about how much you reminisce about the good old days.
the good old days.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Who says that?
Don't you?
It's
Like
not me, no.
you say you miss it like whenever like we just had separate bathrooms and like we could all just do our own thing without being with each
I was
other.
born in 2000, dude. You're crazy.
I love put that
Welcome.
on you.
Welcome to the Are We Recording podcast. This is Ethan Hamilton, the young Rottweiler, 5'5" of pure temptation.
There you go. See, I needed that one. I'm
Yeah, you
I'm not
needed
going
that
until
one.
that one goes.
And he is the co-host of this awesome podcast you're watching called Are We Recording? And I am Gage Sutton, 007, here with another episode. Thank you guys for watching episode 1. We really appreciate all the support we've gotten for it. And yeah, really excited to get this episode started.
Yeah, and make sure you guys subscribe here on YouTube. And for our audio listeners, please rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and share the podcast around to your friends, your families, to your lovers, to your side pieces, to your main things. Any amount of support, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to all of our new subscribers and followers. Welcome to the podcast. And yeah, on socials, comment, and you can help us be a part of, or you could be a part of segments like this one that we are about to do. And it is called Flashback because Ethan, I talked about flashing back to a simpler time. And in 2019, man, Young Nudie dropped Slimier with Pierre Bourne. And we got to thank Ace, the artist, Ace Walker, for this recommendation, man. The very first Flashback, and we get a great recommendation from Ace, man. So Ethan, we took the week to listen to this album and kind of just let it sit with us. What are your big takeaways from this album? And yeah, just Young Nudie in general.
Honestly, like listen to this project, it was like a flashback, like as the segment suggests. I mean, it took me back to 2019, and because this is the first project I was introduced to Nudie, you know what I'm saying? So to hear Nudie for the first time and Pierre at like the height of Pierre's power, because this album came right after Die Lit, so like Pierre became a household name after Die Lit. So this is like the first project where he had all that pressure on his back, if I'm not mistaken, and honestly, he carried this project. He really, really did. Pierre was awesome on this project, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did, because I know we don't hear a lot of Pierre's music right now because he's not that much in the motion of things. But back in 2019, it was Pierre's world, and we were all living in it. And I just remember listening to songs like Sunflower Seeds, and Extendo, even the song with Meg. Like I totally forgot Meg was on this album.
Yeah, the features on this album were fun. I think you nailed it right on the head too. I think Pierre's the star of the show here. The production throughout is absolutely crazy. I got to give shout out to Young Nudie though too, because I just love his delivery. There's just something about his flow that I don't know. I just really like, and I think he's gotten a lot better since this album as an MC, as a rapper. But this is definitely not something I would recommend to someone if they're looking for something a little more lyrical, spiritual, kind of like my goat J. Cole. Because J. Cole.
How do you spin a nudie like flashback into J. Cole? This is what I can't stand about you J. Cole fans. This is what I cannot stand about you J. Cole fans.
Hey, listen up, Ethan, because I don't even know what to consider you. Are you a Ye fan? Are you a Drake fan? I don't know. But me, I've been on this Dreamville side, man. J. Cole is the best rapper alive. And if that teaser for the fall off didn't prove it to you, I don't know what will, man.
The thing is, like, I'm not anti J. Cole. I don't like
how you are. Yes, you are.
Ever since
you are very anti J. Cole.
This podcast, you keep pushing this narrative. Okay, I like J. Cole. I think J. Cole is great. I just wasn't always like, I'm not a dreamer like y'all. Like, I was never a Dreamville fan. Like between him, Drake, and Cole, you pick your lane and you stay in it. Like, that's your home team. You can appreciate all three, and I appreciate J. Cole, but from the aspect of which one did I listen to the least, it was definitely J. Cole, and I still stand on, like, I like J. Cole a lot more now than when I did when I was first discovering hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like 2014 Forest Hills Drive is not my religion. Like some people that listen to this podcast and comment on this podcast.
Hey, not only that, we can go back to Born Sinner. We can go back to the Sideline Story. J. Cole, even the mixtapes, man. J. Cole was cooking with the warm up. Like, there are so many arguments to be made that J. Cole should be higher than Kendrick or Drake. But you don't want to hear that right now, do you?
No, I don't want to hear none of that, because I'm still of the mindset that Drake does not have a classic. Not Drake. I'm still of the mindset that J. Cole does not have a classic project yet.
You are crazy. 2014 Forest Hills Drive exists.
It's not a it's not an undeniable. Like if we put a top, like are we being honest here?
Yes.
Are we being honest here? If we do top 5 Drake, Kendrick, and Cole albums, right? Cole doesn't have a single one in there.
2014 Forest Hills Drive is cracking the top 5.
It's not.
It absolutely is.
It's not. Because think about it. Like Drake has at least 3. Drake has at least 3. Kendrick got at least 3. So that's 6 right there. There's 6 albums that are better than 2014.
There are too many albums that J. Cole's hating for you. The one I will give people is KOD. KOD isn't my favorite J. Cole project. I understand why it's not a lot of people's. But you know what? I'm actually making an executive decision here on the podcast next week on Flashback. We are listening to For Your Eyes Only by J. Cole.
I love how you making you saw the homie Alex put that as our next flashback, and you're completely ripping that. Oh my god, I hate you for that.
Hey, it was Alex who commented that actually. Wow, that's crazy. Alex, shout out to Alex. You know ball, man.
No, he knows ball. Maybe I'll give For Your Eyes Only a chance, because I have listened to it. Like I'm not acting like I haven't, but it's just like it was never my speed. You know what I'm saying? So I guess for next week's flashback, I'll definitely I'll give it a full listen again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So maybe my mind changes. Maybe my mind changes by Jermaine. Who knows? I'm still excited about the fall off. Don't get it twisted. I love the offseason. And if you ask me out of Drake, Kendrick, and Cole, which has been the best the last 5 years, there's a very good argument to be made that Cole's been the best. And I'm not against it.
Okay. You know what? I'll accept that, because that's actually a really good point. Like, if we look at the most recent servings of music we've gotten from all of these guys, I think J. Cole has stood head and shoulders above Kendrick and Drake, because everything J. Cole has been on, he steals the show. I mean, we can go back to Johnny P. Caddies and talk about that song all the time, because on the night I was born, the rain was pouring, God was crying, lightning struck. Oh my God, he was cooking.
He smoked that. Like,
absolutely cooking.
I feel bad because I'm a Griselda fan. I feel bad for what he did to Benny on that. Like I
It's
can't. It makes me
disgusting.
upset that he did that to Benny.
And J. Cole has just been on that murder streak, man, and that's why I think he's solidifying. He said on the teaser, he said that this is like if Hove dropped Reasonable Doubt last. What?
I'm with you.
That's fucking crazy. He's coming.
That's
And
high, pause. But that's high.
pause.
That was nuts. That was nuts. High expectations though. I'm excited for the fall off. I really am. I do think we get the fall off within the next 18 months though. I don't think we get it this year.
Yeah, I mean, because aren't we still supposed to get It's a Boy?
Yeah, I guess the 2-pack before, or the I don't know what to call it, like a mixtape or something before. Like I remember when he did the product listing or the album listings for it. And for our visual listeners or our audio listeners, we're gonna have all like these graphics and stuff for the It's a Boy and all of our segments on the YouTube. So make sure to check it out. But on this graphic, I think It's a Boy's next. At least it comes before the fall off. But who knows? He might just skip that altogether because it has been almost like 2 years since he posted that. So it's kind of hard to gauge. A lot of things has changed in 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this rollout comes out too. I hear the end of J. Cole like rapping, and I'm like, I don't know if I really believe it. I feel like he'll probably still, pop in. He's one of the OGs now, man. I really don't think that like when it's all said and done, he's gonna go down as one of the greatest. Let's just keep it a buck, right?
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of going down as the greatest, can we talk about the greatest scammer of all time?
I don't know if it's the greatest scammer, but I think he solidified himself as the greatest mascot ever. Are we gonna be feds? I don't think
he's the mascot. He's not like the team's official mascot.
He's got like, bro, there's no way you can get this off. I'm surprised nobody has talked about this story. Like the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl really, really like went plagued all over this. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Well, what happened is that the Kansas City Chiefs mascot, the Chiefsaholic, which is it's not a mascot, but he's a super fan. He's facing up to 50 years in prison for a string of bank robberies, like 11 bank robberies. If this isn't like a movie, a blockbuster movie, then I don't know what is. Dog, he spent like before being arrested, right? He spent a couple months on the run, got arrested, had an ankle monitor. So he's running around at Chiefs games and stuff with an ankle monitor on, right? And he's known in the Chiefs community as the Chiefsaholic. So while all this is going on, he's robbing banks. He's going to Chiefs games, cheering on Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Like, this is a movie, bro. This is a movie.
It really is. And
after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, he cashed in like 2 big ass bets on Mahomes winning the MVP, Super Bowl MVP in 2022, and the Chiefs beating the Eagles. And this isn't from this year. This is from last year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So after he won that bet in 2022, he went right back on the land. Like he won the bet, cut the like the $100,000 bet, cut the ankle monitor off, and went immediately on the run. And I find that like that's the craziest shit ever, because that's what we would do, bro. If I hit $100,000 bet, bro, and I was on an ankle monitor, yeah, $100,000 should be enough for me to make a clean getaway. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's not enough, then I don't know what is. And the fact that they caught him like a couple months later is just asinine. Like, how the fuck you gonna get caught after doing all that stuff? But that is a movie.
It's a good way to look at it, honestly, because the fact that he's wearing the mask too is just perfect. I'm reading here he's going to be required to pay $532,000 in restitution and will forfeit an autographed painting of Patrick Mahomes. Man,
damn.
Talk about L's.
That's a fat ass L. Maybe he should have cut the ankle monitor off.
That is crazy. This Chiefsaholic, man.
But you gotta think, like, it makes sense that the Chiefs have like a crazy fan like this, because if you think about all the old musicians, like John Lennon and all of them, they all had crazy super fans. Even the super fans right now, like, you remember the Swarms documentary with Beyonce And it wasn't a documentary, but it was Swarms was a TV show that I think it came out last year. Like I think Donald Glover helped produce it, but it's basically about like loosely based on this super fan, this Beyonce super fan that was running around on finding people that were like posted hate comments about Beyonce and allegedly attacking them. And he like kind of strung them all together as like a mention to like super fans, like beware. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I don't know if this you think this counts as being like the Superman having to do with like him committing these crimes, or do you think he was just like a degenerate?
I think he's just a degenerate who happens to be a Chiefs fan. Like, I don't think I don't think being a fan of a team would make you want to act violent and rob banks. But I mean, hey, maybe things are different in Kansas City.
I
Missouri?
never like thought like I don't know what is there to be like crazy about being a Chiefs fan. Like the Chiefs are cool and they're becoming like a crazy well known team, but I don't know. I mean, that whole super fandom shit is weird to me. It's like the Fantano stuff with Kanye. Like, I know we mentioned it last week, but like those toxic fan bases are like just so not it. Like, I don't know. I don't think I could ever. We're all like, I know we use this term stands very loosely, right? Like, we're all like really, really good fans of like certain celebrities and the product they produce, right? But I don't think neither one, me or you, are like really stands. I know you joked about it earlier about being a stan about J.Cole, but I don't think I'm like a stan of Kanye. Do you think I'm a stan of Kanye like that?
No, because I think we both can recognize the wrongdoings of people and artists. Um, so I wouldn't say either one of us are stands. I think we can like admire work and admire people for traits that they have, but I wouldn't say obsessed is what I usually connect with the word stan, like a crazy stupid fan, like you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, I get that. Well, did you see that? That goes to my next thing is that I know Eminem just announced that he's gonna come out with this documentary about like called Stan, based on Stan cultures. For those who don't know, the name Stan, like you hear it all the time now. It's a playoff of Eminem fans, right? And I wonder how he's gonna do it. Like just to if he'll be able to pull off like the holding a mirror to like Stan culture, especially like on the internet. Because if anybody can do it, I think M can do it. I just don't know if Eminem fans will necessarily like care because I don't see Beyonce or Nicki Minaj doing that to their crazy fans, or even Kanye for that example.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting how he like puts that onto a documentary. I didn't even know he was doing this, so that sounds pretty cool. Where's it gonna be on, or like is that out
No, it's
already?
not no, it's not out yet. But I'm just wondering how that's gonna work because I feel like when you do something like that, you alienate your fan base, and when you have that large of a fan base that like or stands like Eminem has, well, M like doesn't seem like the person like he's kind of out of like not out of the loop, but M isn't like he's just Eminem's a megastar, right? Eminem can sell out like stadiums and all that type of stuff for sure. But Eminem's not actively rapping. Like he'll do verses here and there, but like you know what I'm saying? Like not in the
Yeah,
same way that Nicki Minaj or Beyonce is actively like in the music business and in the scene. So I think he can maybe be one of the only ones to pull it off
yeah,
without because if he alienates his fan base, so what? Like it's Eminem.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
he's used to alienating people. Like that's just a normal Tuesday for him.
Yeah, I feel like, bro, Eminem is one of those artists. I don't know how we get into this Eminem conversation, but like, he's definitely hasn't aged the greatest. But I feel like his personality in that aspect, I'm surprised he didn't do no like Chappelle show or like more skits in the 2000s. I know that's like a big thing now, but I feel like Eminem would be perfect for that. Like, look at his music videos, look at his some of his songs, like the certain level of like break the fourth wall like commentary he has. I'd be down.
Yeah.
I would have been down to see that.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty entertaining guy. I was actually watching the interview the other day, and I forgot he's in that movie. And he's like, he reveals to James Franco that he's been like leaving little gay breadcrumbs in his music, as he quoted. And I was like, that's really funny. Like just seeing that side of him, like getting to be on the big screen. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Um, yeah, I don't know how we got to talking about Eminem, but I mean, it's really interesting to think about what people think about him now and what they think about him historically in hip hop. Like, what is your take on him? Do you think, all criticism aside, do you think he's the top 5, top 10 rapper of all time?
I think I don't want to do this whole top 10 shit, but I'm an
It's
entertainer.
hard.
Yeah, but I think there's definitely a case to be made. For me, I would say so, probably towards the latter end. But I think the problem with M is that like he just didn't age the greatest. You know what I mean? I think his lack of like, which coincidentally we just talked about, his self-awareness like was one of his biggest strengths. I think it's become a lack of now in the 2020s. But I mean, Eminem's fucking like 50 years old now. Like, of course he's gonna have that lack of self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think it's a cool thing to look forward to. But I think that brings us to our favorite segment of the week.
Put you on.
How do we bro? We nailed the fuck out of that. I think that's the
Nailed
first time everybody hit it at the same time.
It was perfect.
It really was. It really was.
Sent from the heavens.
Oh, don't do that. The kids don't like it. Not one of it. Not one of it. No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. So you want to start this week, or you want me?
Yeah. Here. Do you want to start with shows or movies though, or shows or music?
I think we should start with music.
All right. If we're gonna start with music, I am gonna recommend a song. I'm trying to decide. You know what? I'm gonna go with this one. I am gonna select Pink Luggage, Blackbird and the Velvet Night. It was one of my friends. His name is Mike. Shout out Mike if he listens to the podcast. Leave us a comment. Go check out his band. He's a rock artist. This makes some pretty cool, interesting rock music. So if you're into that, check him out. He also has some hip hop stuff. If you want the link to that, I'll leave his Instagram and contact info somewhere in the comments.
Hey man, look at you putting us onto more rock stuff. Well, I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard the name Four Bats recently, especially the last couple months. He's a Dallas R&B act. Even though he doesn't look like an R&B act, I think that's the whole appeal to it. He dropped Act 3, titled on Act 3 on God, she like in parentheses. Fire. Four Bats, if by some chance you listen to this, drop the album. I've been waiting. I need a Four Bats project soon. He very much gives me early P&D Party Next Door vibes. So if that's what you're into, definitely check him out. Dallas is our very own, so I gotta rep it. But Four Bats, that's gonna be my music choice of the week.
All right, I'm gonna have to check him out. I haven't heard of him, but I like Party Next Door.
His Act 2 song that came out like a couple months ago. Fire, bro. Like, I'm surprised you definitely heard it. Like I said, for our audio listeners, we're gonna have all the links and stuff on YouTube, as well as pictures of the cover art, so you guys can help y'all find it. But yeah, like Act 2 date at 8, you've heard it all over TikTok.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to check it out and see for myself, because I'm not scrolling TikTok as much as I feel like probably a lot of our listeners. Probably a bad thing, or maybe a good thing. I feel like TikTok kind of
because the Chinese are gonna get your info.
Yeah, I know. Hey, the government is listening to me, man. The other day I was talking about, man, I haven't been to a concert in a while, and then scrolling my Instagram feed, 21 Savage on tour with Jid, and I was like,
I told you, the Chinese government is listening to you through TikTok. Donald Trump was right. And that's why you need to.
We're getting political again. We're starting the episode with politics, and ending. That's crazy.
All right, for TV shows, since you went music first, I'll go TV shows first.
All right,
bro. Shogun on Hulu. I've been seeing like ads for it like a couple weeks ago, right? Being like, all right, this is like the new like FX show like to watch, because I've been like, I'm really big into TV, right? And True Detective was especially disappointed the ending. I know we're gonna talk about it, but I'm still waiting on Gage to watch it. But Shogun, bro, 2 episodes drop already. I hope they get a season 2. Like, I think this is only gonna be like 4 or 5 episodes season 1, and they're gonna build off of that. So it's like I'm about to butcher the explanation of the show, but the quick description, like Cliff Notes description, without spoiling too much, is that this show is loosely based off historical fiction in the era of Japan in the 1600s, right when other countries around the world first start to discover that Japan exists. So it's loosely based on that, how the emperor died, and there's 4 or 5 lords left over, and it's like a grasp of power. Think of like Game of Thrones, right? But like 1600s Edo period Japan. Fire. The set pieces, fire. Like if you're into like people in the room talking, I know that's like not like like Game of Thrones style, people in the room talking, and you're just watching real actors act. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. A lot of it is in subtitles, which is crazy because it is like an American TV show, and there is like people talking in English in it for sure, but a lot of it is in subtitles. There is also an English dub too, so no excuses. Because in a couple months, and not even a couple months, in a couple weeks, you're gonna hear everybody talking about Shogun. Shogun is crazy. You should watch it.
All right. And where can we watch this?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
All right. I am gonna go with a Netflix show, and I don't know if we talked about it last week on the podcast, but the Vince Staples show. Did we talk?
We haven't
about
talked about. We didn't talk about it
haven't?
last week.
Okay, yeah, I was.
But
like,
I did watch
man.
it, so I'm looking to hear you talk about it. It was solid. I liked the first season.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. It was very like reminiscent of Atlanta and like kind of like what Donald Glover's doing, but with Vince Staples' own kind of take on it. I found the humor really funny. I think Vince Staples is just a really funny guy in general. He has one of my favorite videos on YouTube, the Kenny Beats, the Cave episode. Hilarious every time. Doesn't fail to make me laugh. So if you like Vince Staples and you like his music, you should definitely check out his show. It's very entertaining.
Not a bad choice. Not a bad choice. I'm excited to see if they give like Vince Staples the push or the button for this, because I've always been a fan of Vince Staples. I think I can speak for you as well. Here at Art Recording, we have all been pretty good fans of Vince, and to see him take more of this like creative role, especially watching him throughout the years and interviews and certain like podcast clips, he's hilarious, and I like the way his mind works. Like I think his sense of humor is really, really funny, and I'm surprised he just now started to get into the TV space, and I'm interested to see how far it goes.
Yeah, me too. I think he's a super talented guy, though, from what we've already seen. Obviously, as a rapper, he is one of our favorites, and now he's dipping his toe into this, TV, movies kind of stuff, and I think he has the chops for it. He's a very entertaining guy. But yeah, so the show on Netflix, and we've also got Shogun on Hulu from Ethan. So if you're looking for some shows to watch, those are the recommendations from us. Again, for Put You On, you gotta sing it. You gotta sing it again, E?
I got you. Put you on.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I think we can move on to our next topic. And I kind of want to talk about this Johnny Manziel interview, because you had told me to watch it, and I think this was like a couple weeks ago. You had told me to watch it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. And for clarification, I'm talking about the one with him and Shannon Sharpe. It was dropped on YouTube. When did it come out?
It came out like 2 weeks ago. It came out 2 weeks ago.
9 days ago. Yeah, okay.
Give or take 2 weeks, yeah. And I know before we get into the interview, I know Shannon Sharpe's been on a fucking heater, bro, like the last 2 months with the Cat Williams interview, and then this one, and then he had the 21 Savage one, and then there was another one. Oh my gosh, what is it? With another black comedian. Her name's like on the tip of my tongue, but Shannon Sharpe's been on a heater. And I know us being in the broadcasting space with our recording the podcast, a lot of critiques have been thrown towards Shannon's way, right? Especially in the Cat interview, where it seems like Shannon got bulldozed by Cat in the interview, and it came across as like him. I can see why people people were doing a lot of dry hating when it came to Shannon because it came across like he wasn't the best interviewer. And I wanted to know your thoughts on it because we're in the space, right? And when we see someone go like that, like naturally, we keep an eye out for it. So
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on the criticisms that maybe Shannon Sharpe isn't the best interviewer for a podcast.
No, for sure. So I think the thing I notice about him, just technique wise, or about the way he, I guess, hosted his show, uh, I guess like the pacing or maybe the placement of certain questions were kind of off. Like he started the show with some, I guess they kind of started from the beginning, but just like his questions were all the way focused. If I had to say, that was my biggest critique. But other than that, from what I saw from that interview, I think Shannon does a really great job of making the guy he's interviewing feel comfortable to answer how they want to, how they're feeling, honestly. And you could really get that from the Johnny Manziel interview. Like you could tell he was letting it all out, being completely like open and honest about his experience and everything he went through. And I think Shannon proves a big role in that. I don't think Johnny Manziel does that if Shannon doesn't give him that environment to, you know?
I couldn't agree with you more. I feel like Shan is getting a lot of hate, and it's coming from like people in the space. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not a traditional interviewer like a Larry King or someone in that vein. Nor should he have to, even though he's on a crazy heater like this. I think it comes across very much as hating from the other side because do I think sometimes Shannon's interviews like techniques are a little clunky, and when he's asking like the questions, it's not very smooth in the way that you might see Joe Rogan have a conversation or Joe Budden, for example, or even like a Charlemagne. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't take away from the fact of the product that he has. Like the product that he has, the goal of these people being smooth in the interviews is to have the success that Shannon Sharpe has. So when Shannon Sharpe has the success, and all of a sudden people start coming into the space being like, oh, well, Shannon doesn't know how to interview and it's all the guests is doing all the talent. Well, no, because Shannon has to create the space where the guests are comfortable to produce this kind of content. And when you produce this kind of content, this is the hope, this is the goals that you're reaching for. So when you say that Shannon like doesn't deserve it or nothing like that, something like that, like you're hating very much, which is okay. I'm all for hate. Here our recording, we believe in one thing, and that is hate is more powerful than love. So if you gotta hate, then just hate. Like just wear it on your sleeve. You know what I'm saying? Don't hide it. Don't hide from it. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are doing. They're trying to be like, oh, well, if I got the interview, I wouldn't act that way. It's like, well, you didn't get the interview. So shut the fuck up. Like nobody cares. Like, how about you start making content that's worth people giving a fuck about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, man. And Shannon, like we already mentioned, even though he may not technically be the best interviewer, it's all about entertaining the people who are watching your content. And I was intrigued the whole interview. I'm on the edge of my seat listening to Johnny Manziel talk about these experiences, and it has to be in part of Shannon. It's his show. He's hosting it. He's asking the questions. And again, if you have a problem with the way he's asking the questions, that's just semantics, dude. Like,
Especially when you don't come from that space. I think a lot of people saying that's like, well, you guys aren't interviewers. You guys don't put your product on the field. So I'm really going to take what you say with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this Johnny Manziel interview, Shannon did way better. Like it was a way better interview than even the Cat one. Because I feel like the Cat one was a lot of Cat doing a lot of storytelling and information and entertaining. And I feel like this one was a lot more interview classically. Johnny was ready to give it up. But at the same time, Shannon was,
pause.
because that was crazy.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was crazy. But at the same time, Shannon, being a Hall of Fame football player, playing college football, he knows the environment that Johnny Manziel was in. So I guess we can get into like some of the exciting points in the interview, because I thought this interview was fantastic. I feel like this is the most relatable Johnny Manziel has been in a very long time. Like me being from Dallas, I never liked Johnny Manziel because Johnny Manziel very much comes across as like the very entitled, cocky white boy that just got everything handed to him. You know what I'm saying? And seeing his downfall, it was very much like an "I told you so" moment. Like because I'm not an A&M fan. I wasn't a Johnny Manziel fan. You know what I'm saying? But now him talking about it in this interview, and you're getting more backstory, and it just seems like, I guess I definitely resonate a lot more with Johnny. Like I feel a lot more sympathy in a way that I never thought before.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think this is like the most mature sounding I've heard him and accepting of everything, not like bitter or like upset. I don't know. Like he just kind of sounds like at peace with it. I think one of the big points he had said was something like it was always his dream to play college football, and that was it. Like he said that was where he wanted to go with it. He didn't really see it going anywhere further than that. Like if you made it to the league, cool, but his dream was to play college football.
Mm-hmm.
And he won a Heisman, had a pretty great career at Texas A&M, I would say. And it's just interesting to see him reflect on all of the years and all of the decisions he's made, because you're right, man. He's come from he's come
Very
from
unlikable.
Texas.
Being very unlikable. I feel like he was definitely like the frat boys champion. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure. Yeah. I mean, like,
Even more so than like Tim Tebow. The streets love Johnny football. Like we like the people here in Dallas loved him. Like I
yeah.
remember like watching that game when they beat Bama. Like, bro, he became a cult hero down here.
Yeah. I like when he talked about the high school, like, players, like Mount Rushmore of like high school quarterbacks in Texas, and how much praise he had for Kyler Murray too. Which
Because Kyler Murray, like, don't get it twisted, he's definitely the GOAT Texas high school football player. Definitely.
and Johnny Manziel, yeah, he nailed it right on the head. I don't think Kyler Murray lost a single game in his high school career. And yeah, it was just really fun to hear Johnny open up, be himself, not sound. I like too that when Shannon started the show with the glass of or the drink at the beginning of the show, Johnny didn't take it. I'm like, man, this is good. This is a good thing for Johnny Manziel. It's good to see him doing well and being able to reflect on these things in a mature and healthy way.
Exactly. And I feel like like I said, he comes off way more sympathetic than he did before. And watching him talk about what happened between him and Kevin Sumlin was really interesting, because it's just more confirmation we already know about what was happening in college football, especially before NIL deals. And for those who don't know, he basically talked about how his dad visited with Kevin Sumlin before he declared for the NFL draft, right? And he basically told him, yeah, we'll stay Texas A&M another year, another 2 more years if you pay us like $3 million. And I believe it 1,000%. I believe it 1,000%.
Well, I mean, Johnny even said at that moment, he was like, this is the way college football was. Like, you talk to anyone who played college football in a major Division I program in that time and 50 years before that, they were all getting paid under the table by boosters. Alabama, Texas A&M, hell yeah. There's no way that there are not situations like this going on. So it's just refreshing to hear Johnny open up about it, because he definitely is one of the people who was affected most by it. Like, could you imagine what it would have been like if NIL was a thing when he was in school?
Bro, Johnny Manziel would have made so much money, especially
So
A&M
much.
booster money, like Dallas, Texas, DFW booster money. It
Yeah.
would have been ridiculous. It would have been ridiculous how much money. He might have made more money. I know he went to the NFL and got a contract, like his rookie deal. He would have made more money in A&M than he would have been that he did in ended up making in Cleveland for sure.
Yeah.
And I like too how he talked about like the infamous like spot he was in, especially with my Cowboys. How like he really thought like that when when he was still on the board and the Cowboys were on the board, that he for sure thought that Dallas and Jerry Jones were drafting him. And we ended up drafting the best guard of our generation, Zach Martin. So I mean, it just turns out well for all of us, man. No NFC Championship though, but I mean, we'll keep dreaming.
Yeah.
We'll keep dreaming.
Yeah.
But even how he talks about like how he's 1,000% sure that like if he went to Dallas, he wouldn't be alive right now. And I believe it, bro. He was a party animal, and Dallas being like his backyard, him being the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, it would have been crazy if Johnny Manziel was here. It would have been crazy.
wrap it up. I mean, dude, he got sent to Cleveland, Ohio, and fucked it up.
Yeah, I don't think he would have made it
Cleveland.
a year. I don't think he would have made a year. But I also inferred too that like just the culture in Cleveland, Johnny Manziel was not good, and I feel like a lot of his development was stunted for his lack of effort, his lack of work ethic, for sure. But at the same time, he basically revealed to like, hey, I was trash too, and I don't think he's shifting any blame to either. He's like, Cleveland wasn't the greatest either. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
agree with him 1,000%. I don't think Cleveland. He did get the handed the keys of the castle, but I feel like when you're a rookie like that, you're supposed to be protected, and I don't think Cleveland did a great job of protecting him.
No, not at all. But I mean, I think that could even go back to his experience at Texas A&M. I mean, with Kevin Sumlin, he talked about how like it's his head coach's job to help him become the man that he is supposed to be. And Johnny even mentioned it. He thought it was hypocritical that Kevin Sumlin was saying this because he was a party animal just like Johnny. So it's interesting to see where all of this comes from too, with like the A&M experience and seeing him go to Cleveland and how disorganized their organization has been for years. And yeah, I mean, he was kind of set up for failure, man. Like too high of expectations for a guy who was already going into it with a leg down on the situation. He's undersized, and I mean, we knew how seriously he took football.
Absolutely. He even talked about too, like him being regretful for how he handled everything because of LeBron kind of took him under his wing, and I thought that was hilarious because it just reminded me of that Drake interview after the Pusha T shit where he was like, "Oh, I didn't want to be let down by LeBron, or I didn't want to let down LeBron." I'm like, bro, who the fuck is letting down LeBron? Like, I don't know what the fuck y'all are doing. Why do y'all keep letting? Like, I get he's Bron, but why do you keep letting him do this to y'all?
That's hilarious, man. Yeah, that's funny. I think like the episode or the interview started with Skip Bayless, or them mentioning Skip Bayless, also calling
And
him
how he
like
let,
the best.
let Skip down? Yeah,
Yeah, Skip called him the best player in Cleveland since LeBron James.
that definitely put so much what's it called pressure on him.
Yeah, and that's something I feel like that was a big takeaway for me from this interview was like the expectations placed upon these athletes, and I guess it works in music too. Uh you could just put so much expectations on someone, and when they don't live up to it, it I don't know, it's sad to see, but like it's kind of reality. Like we see it with Johnny Manziel and like his demons, the things that were, I don't know, holding him back from becoming an NFL quarterback. But
I'm with you. Do you think we're going to see the same thing with? Because I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen something like Johnny Manziel, and I don't think we're going to see something like that again. I really don't think. I mean, we saw a little bit of it with Joe Burrow, like just a cool white guy
yeah,
that could ball, but Joe Burrow couldn't ball in college like how Johnny could.
nah, I
The,
don't.
the,
I
the, the
mean,
running aspect was a whole different level.
yeah, Johnny Manziel was special, man. Watching him at A&M was
I was the
crazy. I
biggest hater,
remember
bro. I was the biggest hater.
I wasn't really watching college football, and I didn't have an affinity. I don't like the Aggies now, but at the time, man, he was the talk of football. Literally, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing about
Did
Johnny
he get
Manziel.
was Johnny Manziel in the league when was in college football when the last NCAA came out?
I don't think so, because he was the 13 draft. When was the last NCAA game?
I think it was 14. It was the
14.
it was gotta be it's gotta be yeah, it was 14 with Denard Robinson. So Johnny Manziel should have been in it. You see that Texas State is in it? I found that so cool that Texas State's gonna be in the next one.
Yes.
I'm so
Love it.
excited. We're gonna get a
Hey,
nice 70 rating.
speaking of Texas State, heard the Jake Spavital shout out. I was like, oh my God, Jake Spavital. What the heck? Forgot he coached.
When you hear the Jake Spavital shout out?
Johnny was talking about like his time at A&M and how I think he said that Jake Spavital was his QB coach
I
at
can see it.
A&M.
I thought he was before he came to Texas State. He was definitely like Jake Spavital is the former Texas State football coach, but I could have swore he was.
He was at
He was at
A&M.
no, he was at West. I thought he was at West Virginia. He was the quarterback offensive coordinator at West Virginia.
I think he went to A&M then to West Virginia because I think he coached Kyler too. Because Johnny Manziel was talking about how he recruited Kyler to A&M first, and that's a funny story too of how A&M took Kyle Allen and Kyler Murray and said, "Yeah, Kyler, you can go to Oklahoma. We're gonna stick with our guy."
And I thought you're not lying, bro. He was the A&M offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
He was the A&M offensive coordinator because he went from what's it called? A&M. No, he went from West Virginia to A&M, back to West Virginia, then Texas State. So
crazy.
Yeah, Spav. GJ
Shout,
Klein, though, that's my head coach, man. I can't believe Texas State's good at football. This is so live.
uh, Texas State football, man. I don't know.
What te-
They're on
what
some.
teams with NCAA 25 coming up? What team you think they're gonna do like a throwback of all the like legendary teams that we missed like in the last 10 years?
I feel like that would be really cool. They definitely need to bring back the Heisman mode where like you could go back and play as old players and like put them on different schools. I think it was on NCAA 13 with all the Heisman. You could use like RG3, Barry Sanders. But yeah, like going back and revisiting old teams would be awesome too. And I think they would be able to like license the names too, right? Because of NIL.
Yeah, I think they're getting like every player gets like $500, and yeah, for the license and like an agreement or something like that, and a T-shirt or some shit like that. But I mean, it's better than nothing. Do I think they probably should get paid more than that? Probably. I think the bigger teams, like the Power 5 teams, are going to get paid more? Probably. Because I remember with the old NCAA, they couldn't put like the names on there, so they put the players, and they'd be the exact same players. They would just put their number. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm just worried that they're gonna make it like a souped up Madden. They're just gonna make it just like Madden.
I hope not. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. We're still a long way away from it though. I thought we were gonna get NCAA like sooner because it's next year, right?
It was next year, but I think COVID pushed it back, honestly. But I think once they dropped that NCAA, I just want them to take their time with it. That's really, I know like we can't wait. I don't know, like a lot of people especially cannot wait, but I just want them to take their time with it. Because if there's one thing I don't want to see I don't want it to be like Madden. Like Madden's cool and I like Madden, but I don't want it to just be Madden, but with college players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of people just miss the NCAA games in general. So I'm with you. I think the gameplay should be different. Not make it a carbon copy of Madden just with college players. Defeat the purpose of bringing back NCAA. But regardless, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of unique possibilities, and you're getting a lot of people who are waiting for this game, man. Literally people who they haven't played a football game since NCAA stopped.
Honestly, I believe it. I know people are fiending for this shit. But I know we're getting closer to the end of the show. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
And nothing in particular, I guess, about the Johnny Manziel interview. Now, man, how are you feeling about the Mavericks? I don't think we talked about basketball on the pod in a minute.
How am I feeling about the what? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The Mavericks?
The Mavericks, bro, I'm excited. Yeah. Like, let me go on my Maverick shit for a little bit. Like, you know how I feel about Luka, my white king, white Jesus. I honestly think the Mavs are very, very much a dark horse in the West. Because I think the West is wide open. Because I think Denver losing Aaron Gordon really hurt their depth. They're still a great team. But when you look at the other teams like Minnesota, who doesn't really have too much playoff experience, and Anthony Edwards, who I think he's a really, really great young player, I don't think he's there yet to be a superstar. Anthony Edwards is not a superstar yet. And when you're in the playoffs, you need a guy at the very least that can act like a superstar amongst other superstars. Like Jimmy Butler during the regular season plays like a borderline all-star. In the playoffs, you could like a lot of the times you couldn't say that he isn't a top 5 player in the world. You couldn't tell me that he isn't. Like he's that good in the playoffs. And I don't think Anthony Edwards is at that. And then you look at teams like Phoenix. Phoenix really lacks the depth out of KD and Booker. Beal, even when Beal is there, they're not really that good of a team defensively. The Clippers are so nice. And they give me nightmares. But it's all reliant on Kawhi's health. They'll go as far as Kawhi is healthy. But I really like the moves we made.
Wow. I'm interested to say the Clippers are the team that scare you. You know, I'm a big Clippers doubter. I think if any team you should be scared of, Denver, personally. But
I think whoever who makes it out the West has to go through Denver regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Jokic is unbelievable, man. But you know who else is unbelievable? I won't get into it very long.
Oh, Vic, I already know, bro.
Yeah, my man. Oh my god,
I already know, man.
Unbelievable. And if you are a listener of the podcast and you work in the San Antonio Spurs front office, it's time to fast track that rebuild. This guy is ready to win now.
He really is. I think Vic is so close to being top 10, bro. Like top 10, top 15. He's not top 20, top 25 yet, but he's very, very close. And
he's already a top 5 defensive player in the league, which is insane. He's a rookie.
I think he's up there. I don't think he's better than Rudy or Bam. But other than those two, I don't see the argument that he's not.
Maybe Giannis, but I mean, shit, even then, Wemby is just, he's unbelievable. And if you're not watching it, I don't blame you. The Spurs are very bad, but
Wemby is very good. Wemby is very
a spectacle, good. Man. But, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Are We Recording podcast. Thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. Before you leave, make sure to drop a like, hit follow, and share with some friends. Let them know what we're cooking up here at Are We Recording.
And make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We're always posting on there, especially on TikTok as well. It's been Mr. 5'6", a pure temptation, Ethan Hamilton, the young Rottweiler.
Wearing the Chelsea boots?
Yeah, with the Chelsea boots. And Gage Sutton 007, my co-host, the coldest co-host ever. Thank you guys for watching. This has been another episode of Our Recording.
Peace.